Tu Kazimierz, dzień dobry Państwu. Teraz Państwu pokażę wywiad uczniów szkoły w Stanach Zjednoczonych. Szkoła nazywa się Krantz Junior High School i uczniowie zadają pytania astronautce na Międzynarodowej Stacji Kosmicznej. Astronautka nazywa się McClain i jest inżynierem pokładowym na Międzynarodowej Stacji Kosmicznej International Space Station, ekspedycja 58, i przebywa na Stacji Kosmicznej od grudnia 2018 do lipca 2019. Uczniowie tej szkoły, jeszcze raz Krantz Junior High School, to są klasy od 5 do 8, a na sali zebranych jest około 300 uczniów. I astronautka Anna będzie odpowiadała na pytania zadawane przez tych uczniów.
In about 12 to 15 seconds if we actually lost pressurization. So that's actually more of a danger to us than lack of oxygen.
Pierwsze pytanie było:
We are now moving on to the next question.
Hi, my name is Nathan, and this is my question. What is the best view you have seen in space?
Well, Nathan, I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you two views because I can't really decide which one is better. The first one, I'm from the West Coast. I'm from Spokane, Washington, and I've lived all over the country, mostly on the East Coast, the West Coast, down in Houston, not far from you. But one place I've never been was Michigan, and I've never seen the Great Lakes on Earth. And when we fly over the Great Lakes, it is just incredible from here. You can see the rolling hills and the mountains all around it, and then you can see the shape of the water. It's really incredible. My second favorite view is the moon. Ever since I was 3 years old, I used to look up at the moon and think about what it would be like to go to the moon, to think about how those people felt when they put their first foot on the moon, what it would be like to blast off on a rocket with all that power to the moon. And so that's always, to me, been something that made me dream. And now I get to be in space and looking at the moon, and I can watch a moonset or a moonrise, and because we're going 22,000 miles an hour, you can actually watch the moon go down. You can really see it move over the horizon. And I tell you what, it is absolutely beautiful from here to see the moon.
Hello, my name is Emma, and my question is, do you have any inspiring quotes that you live by?
You know, there's different quotes that have inspired me at different times in my life. And I think one of the things that kept me going, the thing about having a big dream like this, let me back that up. The thing about having a big dream, like for me it was being an astronaut, and whatever your dream is, whatever your passion is that sometimes on a Tuesday night when you're having to study for a test or do a project, or you're going to have to find motivation within yourself to believe that it's worth it. You know, and yes, you're going to have supporters around you, but there's going to be those moments where you're the only person with you, and it's that self-talk. It's what you tell yourself in those moments that will really determine if you're successful. And so one of the things I always thought about was that it was better to have tried and failed than to never have tried at all. And I decided at an early age that I was never going to self-eliminate, which means I was never going to quit. If I was not going to make this dream, then somebody else was going to have to stop me, because I was going to sign up for the hardest classes. I was going to pick the hardest majors. I was going to go to the college. I went to West Point, and when I was 18 and having to fly across the country to go to college, that scared me. But I got out of my comfort zone, and I said, I'm going to make these decisions, and somebody else is going to have to tell me no, because I was going to keep driving forward. And so, to me, it's just never self-eliminate.
Hi, my name is Grayson, and my question is, what does your suit feel like? Is it light or is it heavy?
You know, it depends where you are. I've trained for space a lot longer than I've been in space, and so we train a lot on the ground in our spacesuits. And on the ground, our spacesuits weigh about 250 pounds. So that's probably two of most of you. It's really heavy. And the other thing is, we talked about the pressurization. Well, we practice pressurization. Well, when you pressurize a suit, it becomes like an armor, like you see in the old movies when knights wear that metal armor. That's how rigid it is. It's not soft. It's really hard. And so it's not only is it heavy, but it's really rigid, and it only bends where it's designed to bend. And so on the ground, it can be unforgiving. Sometimes you can get bruises from it. You know, you really have to battle it when we're underwater and practicing. Now, the first week I was up here in space, we got to put it on for the first time, and I realized what it was like floating inside of the spacesuit, and then it felt really light. And that's what I understood it was designed for. And that's one of the big challenges about training for space, is how do we train on the ground to make it realistic in space?
My name is Alex, and my question is, what planets besides Earth have you seen in space?
Well, you know, I haven't been up here that long, and so the only one I've really seen so far, it's not a planet, but is our moon. And I have not yet spotted any of the other planets, but now that I'm kind of getting adjusted to what work I'm doing on board, I'm starting to have a little bit more time to look out the window, and so I would really like to see Mars, and I'd really like to see Venus.
Hi, my name is Lavelle Mason, and my question is it frightening to know that all your moves in space have to be exact and that there's no room for error?
You know, I have a lot of emotions coming up to space and living out my dream, and honestly, fear is not one of them, and I'll tell you why. And you guys are very fortunate to have Flight Director Krantz there with you, and to be going to a school that's named after a legacy, like someone like him, because he really created the mission control and what it is today. And so we trained a lot with mission control, and the people that work in mission control are some of the best people that I have ever met in my life. They have attention to detail, they are thorough, they believe in their mission, and they are always looking out for us. They're always one step ahead of us. And so, honestly, I don't have fear up here because I absolutely trust them. They see problems long before I do.
Hi, my name is Jaden Hall, and my question is, what are some different exercises that you do, and how do they help you?
You know, that's a great question, because that is one of the things that we learned on the International Space Station, that, you know, people have been up here. I think most of everybody in this audience, maybe except for the teachers, are less than 20 years old, which means you have never been alive when we haven't had people living on this International Space Station. And when we first came to the International Space Station, we didn't always know, or we didn't know how long-term, like 6-month missions would affect the human body. And one of the things that we learned was that not only did your muscles deteriorate from not being used, but your bones deteriorated. And that's, you know, really dangerous. If you think about, if we go to Mars and it's going to take us months and months to get there, you know, but then when we get there, we have to be able to walk around and do heavy work. We need our bones to stay strong. And so the exercises that we do are not only to maintain fitness and health, but to maintain our bones. And so we do 3 types of exercises here on the space station. We have an exercise bike, we have a treadmill, and we have what we call ARED, which is it's a weight machine where we can do all of the weights that you can kind of think of that you could do at the gym. So we do bench press and squats, and the whole idea is to weight our bones. And we do about an hour and a half to 2 hours of exercise every single day.
My name is Aya. My question is, when you were about to be sent to space, were you worried? And if so, what were you worried about?
And I'm sorry, can you repeat that question one more time?
My question is, when you were about to be sent to space, were you worried? And if so, what were you worried about?
You know, I'll be honest that I wasn't worried. When I first started training for this specific mission 2 years ago, I was worried. You know, I thought about, you know, getting on a rocket and how would that feel, and some of the dangers, because of course there is risk. There's risk in achieving something like spaceflight, you know, and people have paid the ultimate price to achieve this dream. And so one of the things that I learned as an Army helicopter pilot was that if you're ever worried about something or stressed about something, the only way for me to alleviate that is to learn more about it. And so I really dove in to learn about the rocket that I was flying, about the spacecraft I was flying, how it was built, how the systems worked. I tried to learn everything I could possibly learn so that if anything went wrong, I would know exactly what to do. And I've found throughout my life, and this doesn't just apply to spaceflight, but throughout my life, anytime I'm nervous for something, I usually realize it's because there's an unknown. There's something I don't know about it. And so I really have taken to the fact that when I feel that stress or I feel that worry, I learn more, I study more, I go over my procedures, and that's the way I calm down. And by the time that we were sitting on the launch pad on the day of launch, I believe that I knew almost every scenario that could have happened and what my action should be. And so on that day, it was just pure excitement and pure joy.
Hi, my name is Brooke, and my question is, what is your favorite food to eat in space?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that's gotten better over the last 50 years of spaceflight is our food, and we have a huge variety, and I brought a little bit to share with you guys. So on Earth, you know, we're taught as kids not to play with our food, but I can tell you one thing, astronauts absolutely play with our food. So our food comes in a couple of different ways. One of them is packets like this. So this is a packet of chicken that I can put on a taco. And basically on this one, we just put it in the oven and we heat it up and we eat it. And I love eating kind of Tex-Mex and Mexican food and putting things on tortillas up here. And so that's one of my favorites. What's also great about the International Space Station is that it's just that, it's international. And so right now, there's 2 other astronauts on board, and one of them is from Canada, and one of them is from Russia, and they both have food that they brought from their own space agencies. And so it's really nice to have a variety because, you know, for 6 months, you can't just eat the same thing every night. And so this is one of the Russian cans of food, and this is meat and rice, and so it comes in a can. And it's always a treat when Oleg, our crewmate, brings us down some of the Russian food to have something a little bit different. And I think if I had to name a favorite, my favorite would be anything that I can throw and catch and eat. So like if I have M&Ms, you know, we can toss them across to each other. That's always fun.
Hello, my name is Steven Baeza, and my question is, what is